begin to hear the turbo whistle at around 2,800 RPM, where it surges forward in this wave of high-pitched hissing. But the fun stops once you realize that owning this car doesn't come without substantial drawbacks. Yep, the horror stories are hard to ignore. You see, when the Spirit debuted with this engine, people were eager to take it to the track and see what would break. And the answer, unfortunately, is a lot. Let's take the freeze plugs. Someone at Chrysler gave the okay to put steel freeze plugs in an aluminum head. And as anyone who paid attention in school knows, steel and aluminum expand and contract at different rates. The result? Cracked cylinder heads. Now, Chrysler eventually switched over to aluminum freeze plugs, but the fact that something that silly slipped through reveals a disturbing lack of quality checks. Then there's the valve train itself. Sure, the springs might be rated at 8,000 RPM, but the red line is only 6,500 RPM. Why put such heavy springs on an engine that will never rev that high? With over 300 pounds of pressure at the nose, the valve train just beats itself to death, flattening out the cam lobes and destroying rockers to the point that some enthusiasts advise to shift before redline to prolong the life of the parts. Now, look at this timing belt. This type of routing is typically avoided because it's tough for the tensioner to control tension on such a long, straight run. At high RPM, the belt can flutter, creating harmonics. If the belt tension is even slightly off, those harmonics can multiply, damaging the valve train and eventually wiping out the belt-driven shaft that drives the oil pump. Once that shaft fails, the oil pump stops spinning. Now, in a normal car with a distributor, this would shut off the engine and save it. But remember, this car has no distributor connected to the oil pump, so the engine will keep on running with zero oil pressure, destroying itself from the inside without you knowing, unless you happen to be looking at the oil gauge at just the right time. And there's more. This particular aluminum is very soft and porous, prone to warping or even cracking with minor overheating or detonation. Chrysler took notice and eventually commissioned new castings, but by then, the damage to the engine's reputation was done. What's sad is that many of these issues could have been avoided if the bean counters didn't have such a strong hand over the engineering side. I'll give you an example. There are engineering notes showing that Lotus pushed for an oil cooler. They had all the data to prove that it would help, but Chrysler said no, because they didn't think it would be required to meet their 36,000-mile powertrain warranty cutoff. Even Michael Royce from Chrysler admitted that an automatic timing belt tensioner would have been an ideal upgrade, but Chrysler said no, it would cost more money. Michael also claimed that engineers fought to have cooling jackets in between the cylinders, but that would change the bore spacing. And Chrysler didn't want to change the tooling at the engine plant, so they said no. In the end, you won't be surprised to hear that Michael was later quoted saying, "I'm surprised the Turbo 3 ever made the light of day." And he's got a point. Chrysler was never going to invest heavily in a low-volume engine for a $20,000 K car that's near the end of its life cycle. This should have been an engineering marvel. The engineers wanted something truly special, but the bean counters limited the budget, the R&D testing, and the final product in all the wrong places. What we're left with is something that's doing more damage to Chrysler's reputation than helping it. But you know what? The association with Lotus and the low production numbers will help make this a future collectible. And this will be insanely fast, if not reliable, with the right aftermarket upgrades. But unless you have the money for that, I see no point in buying this car.